Don't you touch my private parts. Private parts. Don't you touch my private parts.
You gotta look for your keys.
Crocodile.
Hey, welcome back to this your boy Handed. What's happening? What's poppin'? Episode 246. I got finally the homie Turks right behind me. I got Champs in the building.
Yo.
And I got number one with all of his head.
I miss you, Turkses.
No.
Don't you touch my private parts.
Emotionally.
Don't you touch my emotional parts.
That's public.
Astaghfirullah.
We have 240 episodes of that public parts.
Thank you all for joining us. So we appreciate you. Shout out to our tens and tens of listeners. Shout out to tens and tens of viewers. I appreciate you being here.
It is 1 a.m.
That's your fault.
And we are live from the Kabsa couch.
Play murder is the case, so Turks just be the case right now.
Yo, that's a stretch.
It's gangster, bro. It's gangster.
Oh. Return of the Mac.
Hell no, bro.
The boys are back in town.
No, fine.
The boys are back in town.
Hey Siri. It's Siri now, right? How do you say cry more in Turkish? So shout out to the boys. We appreciate y'all for being here. Shout out to
Welcome
everybody.
back, Turks.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
It's good to have you.
Thank you.
From your long vacation.
Habib.
How does it feel to...
Well, it's going to be the same as usual. And I'm not going to be saying much. And
just to be stuck with us here again.
Yo, how was your vacation that you had 3 months ago?
Oh, it was fun. Well, alhamdulillah. You completely forgot about that one. I got to plan the next one.
You had fun?
It was fun.
Where'd you go?
He's
thinking if you should talk about it.
I'm trying to
Trying to remember exactly.
Look, I don't
know. Where was it? Yeah, it was
a beach somewhere.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was something beachy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Sandy.
You had fun?
Mm-hmm. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Well, welcome back, bro.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you having back. This podcast has been unfunny since you've been gone.
I noticed.
I know, man. Like
Yeah.
having these two unfunny people has been hurting my stride. Why'd you give me this all?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
What a weak
My
all.
feelings.
Okay, no one cares about your feelings.
I know.
Man, I said this joke last week to number one that I really want to tell you, Turks. I just remember it right now. But I know I'm going to have to cut off this whole segment. So I'm just not going to say it.
By then.
I know. Such excitement.
Yeah.
So what do you guys want to talk about? There's a lot been going on, and there's a lot for us to talk about. The people have been waiting.
How are you, Adil? Let's
Yeah,
start there.
get on my face. Okay, no, we've been here for like 6 hours already. We know what's been going on. Let's have topics. Where you guys want to start?
Hit me with one.
Oh, well, since you're back, I actually had this question since I went on vacation that I wanted to ask on the podcast.
Ew.
But I was like, since I have two, like, great guys, for emotional support.
Great is a stretch.
Like my emotional support pets don't really, get involved with me very well.
صح يا دي بارك الله بس.
So the question was this. When I was going around, we always hear about, shut the fuck up. We always hear about, what's the name? The great Arab architecture.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
We always hear about it.
Yeah.
But when you go to Europe, you see their architecture.
Mm-hmm.
There's none of ours. There's little pieces in some countries, but that's about it.
A lot more in one country, by the way.
Well, yeah, that's one.
No, but you mean in terms of the cities that are constructed in an Islamic way?
Yes.
I mean, why would you find those in Europe, though, right?
I'm not talking about Yo, Turks, see what I mean? See what I mean, Turks? I can't have one intelligent conversation.
And you know what?
I can't.
That's funny.
There's actually one place
funny.
in Europe where you can find that. It's in Sicily, actually.
Oh yeah, forgot about Spain.
And Spain. It's in Africa, I guess.
In terms
قسطنطينية.
okay, no,
That was the remix version of it, by the way.
I'm talking about somewhere you wouldn't expect to find it. You know about the Constantinople, you know about Spain, obviously, but that place specifically, south of Italy, because it used to have a blend of European, Arab, Islamic rule for some
عادي
time.
قولها كان حقنا يعني.
هو كان
مختصر
حقنا
يعني.
يعني
كان
كان حقنا
يعني.
yeah.
So is الأندلس يعني. So.
But I wasn't talking about them. I'm talking about here.
Islamic cities,
Yeah.
generally.
Here,
But
يعني-
أعطاك القسطنطينية, that's one.
Bro, I'm talking about. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Turks right here. Okay,
Ask
you
the
don't talk to
architect.
me.
Ask the
all right?
architect.
That was the question to Turks.
Okay.
It's like gift. Anyway, back to
يا أخي, our focus was always on
security and safety. Remember.
No. خليني let me. Architecturally, our focus was on mosques and palaces, castles, etc.
And Islamic centers.
Yes, and given that the building material is mostly mud, يعني that wears off a little bit. Europe, يعني they did a lot of طبعا كله من كيس. بس
welcome back to the podcast.
you have to know. Disclaimer هذا دائما موجود.
This is all feels.
Yeah, of course. Europe عندهم يعني the building material was mainly, I mean, for a while it was wood, but they did do a lot of
Racism?
They did that. Yeah, they built a lot on that. Yeah,
That helped the architecture.
It's a great insulator.
yeah. But stone and that shit doesn't erode as fast as mud. You got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, but also at the same time in Europe, you find a lot of old buildings that look old, but it's just, you know, the face of the building that looks like it's something from back in the day.
Oh,
But
that's
the rest
preservation.
Yeah, okay, but all of it is basically used with using the same style from back in the day, using new materials. See, that was my point. So if we've been, since we can recreate those, why can't we recreate what we had before?
So what are they recreating then? Motifs, an image of what the city had as an identity.
But isn't there a lot
And
of...
I rarely find that.
Isn't there a lot of interesting...
And you do have some great identities, regional identities عندك هنا في المملكة.
Yeah.
But did that translate to new construction materials? No, they didn't. There wasn't enough care about design بصراحة. هذا تفكيري أنا. It was all about function, all about يعني the cheapest material with the يعني that can guarantee me like fast profit. That was about it. That's why you have all these buildings that look the same with the 1-by-1 window on every house you see.
But that's not only here. That's here. That's also in Syria. It's in Iraq. It's all over the Middle East. The same thing.
The same style of construction, the same style of cheap construction. That's
exactly
what he's talking about. No, but come on, I'm also thinking in terms of, there's style, not styles, but there's construction methods, let's say, that was used 100, 200 years ago for let's say, regulating airflow and maintaining coolness in a room while it's hot outside. That is still applicable in today's day and age, you know? I mean, you don't have to do it considering that modern construction materials offer you a lot of those advantages.
And mechanical systems برضو.
But in برضو you can do it just to maintain that visual, throwback, let's say.
There you go, exactly.
Correct.
Was there any care about the visual being preserved?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
In the modern era of the past 60, 70 years, no, it was much more functional.
Exactly.
Let's say that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't a lot of our architectural heritage based on individual artisans, basically, how can I say this, inheriting the trade and techniques generation after generation? And isn't that sort of like dying out as we speak? Or
I get that point, but I'm not that well read about the subject.
No,
yeah,
but
because
answer it.
from what I understand, like I know,
But it's definitely tribal. It's
Yeah.
It's not something that is just a father to son kind of relationship. No,
yeah,
it's
you
the
know,
region.
Like for example,
This is how we build. This is how we do.
I think there's a specific example, like in Egypt, there's a certain tile making style that's literally being kept alive by like just a couple of dudes. Just
Yes.
Keeping the faith. So
Yeah, but that's craftsmanship. That's something that.
but my point is a lot of
You do have a lot of great craftspeople here, برضو عندك, that are preserving the
ancient ways.
I wouldn't call them ancient, but traditional.
But
Dir'iyya is doing a good job.
Yeah, exactly.
They're doing a great job.
Yes.
But my point is how at that level of preservation is that at a point where it's A, transferable and B, scalable.
Scalable is the issue.
Exactly.
Yeah. But going back to Dir'iyya, but what they're doing is fixing. I can't take you seriously with those glasses. You look like you just walked out of Harrods.
I forgot my other glasses in the car.
مع الحجاب.
So I have to use this.
Yes.
Exactly. My kids are running around, right?
معهم ميري وديهم تروكاديرو ما عليك. Sorry.
Welcome back, Terks. Welcome back.
What were we saying?
Food or something.
Going back to Dir'iyya, what they're doing is fixing what has been done for a while. And you go back to Dir'iyya and you look at the buildings that have been there for about 50, 40 years.
All preserved?
It's not. No. I'm not talking about the preserved ones. I'm talking about the people that came and built houses and just lived عادي عارف no thought about the architectural style.
Yeah.
It was all commercial. سريع. That's it. What they're doing الحين is reverting back. Okay, let's fix all of this. It's a big ass band-aid on the architectural style.
Let's go
There's
back to that,
no-
maintaining that visual, coherence, let's say, of this.
You're having a
the
little
area.
historic town
Yes.
in the middle of the city.
Yes.
Think of like Rome.
No, but the point I wanted to go back to in terms of architecture is برضو a lot of the great works of architecture are commissioned by, let's say, the rulers or the leaders of a certain time, right? They would commission a certain mosque to be built, and that would be the center of town or the center of life. That's in terms of Islamic society.
That's why the focus was always about the mosques and the palaces.
And then you
Like
go,
Turkey.
yeah, and then you go,
and Syria and Iraq, to be honest, you do have some great stone buildings over there.
I'm thinking of Qahira as well. Like you also have that layer. That
Qahira
level
has a beautiful traditional style.
Yes.
and layers of history, especially
Yes.
with Qahira. Like you go through the city and you find, hey, this is 200 years ago, this is 300 years ago, this is 400 years ago. But I think in terms of between East and West, in terms of the Islamic world, it's always been different styles in different places. There was no one visual coherent style like there is in Europe. And in Europe for a long time, it was dominated by, let's say, the Holy Roman Empire. So that visual style that you saw in Vienna was the same visual style you would see in Prague, because you had the same, let's say, leadership overseeing that
Melting
as well.
pot of architectural styles. I would give
in
you
Europe.
that. Yeah.
And Gothic being inspired by Renaissance, being inspired by
Other way around. Yeah. Other way around.
Other
Yeah.
way around.
It was Gothic first and then Renaissance.
So you had that all coherence because, hey, we're all, living in this cold, damp place where, we're all trying to figure out the same thing. Where between Maghreb and Syria, no, there's extremes in weather, there's extremes in culture, there's extremes in the peoples themselves, So I think that's maybe one of the elements that add to not having
Because
a united style,
we were
Yeah.
trying to survive. Survival is very important for this whole region. In order to survive, we took our traditions with us. We had to do with one another, but we ignored everything else that
No, but you
because tradition, like architecture, had nothing to do with our tradition.
But which brings you back to Dar'iyya, right? So Dar'iyya, the nice thing about that is it is bringing that old style that was used as a way of living, especially in Najd at least, and celebrating it in every single way, in the doors, in the way that the windows are constructed, in the way that the colors are cohesive and coherent, consistent.
Though that brings me into an interesting observation I've had for a while. Is it me or there are a lot of people from this generation and the past generation that either do not have a sense of history or do not understand the value of history? So it's to me, it seems this
It's both.
reawakening is a relatively new phenomenon here. Like go back 20 years, you'd speak about the importance of preserving heritage and culture and whatever. They give you a weird look and what do you mean? The past is the past is the past.
Yeah.
No, but برضه that's a bigger focus that's being driven by the fact that you have a Ministry of Culture, the fact that you have a founding day that's a new event, that's something that you didn't have a long time ago. That's something that is not encouraging you, but it's allowing you to go back and look at that time beyond.
And preserve your tradition.
Yeah, but and again, my point is that go back 20 years, that mindset was very, very rare. So it shows you that how, subhanAllah, like once you give that mindset opportunity to flourish and nurture it, you see the amazing stuff we have at
We were running so fast, we could only look ahead. You got to keep that in mind. Okay, and let's look at
running so fast.
Let's go through this journey. Okay, from an architectural standpoint.
Because here's the thing.
Okay,
here's the thing. You go back 50 years ago and you tell people who actually lived in mud houses, like, yo, we got to preserve this. I'm like, what do you mean?
Exactly,
Give me concrete.
Exactly.
Give me central conditioning.
Upgrade me.
Okay. At the beginning, we were always mobile. Tents. Okay, we moved a lot. But then we went to mud houses. And we got oil. With oil, we got money. With money, we're like, okay, we got to build.
No, and we can
What's
get
the fastest?
what's the best?
What's
we
the
can get?
best that we can get
Exactly.
when it has to do with our climate, our safety,
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
on.
Jeep.
Concrete buildings, brutalism everywhere.
Mm.
Okay, that became the style. على الأقل بالنسبة لي أنا يعني.
Because it's cost effective.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It wasn't something they had to spend a lot of money on.
We kept building and building and building and building. And then الحين قلنا, you know what? No, we had something going on in the past.
We had something nice.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't we just go check that out and get inspired by it and then go to the future?
Okay, yes and no at the same time. Yes, we are looking back, but we're looking back because it also adds value to our tourism.
It does.
Adds value to our identity.
Of course.
You know, who we are, what we do, and so on. That's one side of it.
Yeah.
When he was talking about 20 years ago, I kind of agree with him because 20 years ago, when you tell someone, yo, like this is our architecture, this is our style, no one really cared about you. No one cared about arts. No one
None.
cared about fashion.
None.
None of that. So you were never encouraged to actually think about that. I mean, for a long time, being an architect wasn't something huge.
Yeah.
You know, everybody was in either like oil, petroleum engineering, or whatever it was.
Yes.
You know, whatever was needed for the time.
Don't
And so-
traumatize
Muhandis.
Turks.
Muhandis.
Don't traumatize Turks.
Yeah, but at the same time, now you look at the value of it now. This is the thing. We're looking at what we had before we're trying to rebuild it, which is great. But how many areas do we have that we can actually rebuild? And its own style.
Areas,
Yeah.
that's much more difficult, you know, because
That's not difficult. I think we have a lot of projects right now.
We have
لا
a
لا
lot.
بس إنه يعني
العلا
it's-
overall.
but it's much easier to build something from scratch than it is to rebuild an area that's already developed. You know, but the rebuilding an area that's already developed is going to take you much more time.
العلا is right now waving the middle finger at you right now.
Mhm.
لا لا بس بالعلا as a small town, as an old town, it didn't have much. Then you were able to enhance it and build around it and keep that same feel much more easier than you would do in a place, for example, say العلية, you know, or المربع that's densely populated, that has a lot of people, that has a lot of old buildings. It's going to take you more time and effort to actually get to that point.
Well, that's a good thing, because when you talk about Al-Ula having not enough people in it, or not being a huge city, it's easy for you to maintain. We're not talking about what you already have right now, because it's very hard and very expensive to fix something that's already there.
Yeah, exactly.
You can fix, the facade of it, whatever you want, but you won't be able to get that feeling back because you already built a different feeling.
Exactly.
This is why you have to go and say, you know what, I have a lot of space in that area, let me rebuild that area.
Plus, you got to keep in mind that Al-Murabba was redeveloped.
Yes.
It still is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And يعني keep in okay, so المربع was outside حدود الرياض at some point. Okay, هناك انبنى القصر مربع عنده خلاص. هنا بيكون الحكم. Then الرياض توسعت and caught up to it. And then it became redeveloped as a cultural center. As you got the museum there, you got the park, you got everything. That redevelopment and preservation was executed properly. But why can't you do that in other areas for Riyadh? Depends. Give me the historic and cultural relevance of Al-Layya.
Yeah, and it depends.
What are you going to do there?
And it depends largely because what you're describing is, in a sense, degrowth. You have a lot of places that are already developed. A lot of places have commercial and residential populations already engaging in it. So what you're describing is sort of turning back the clock. So it's a matter of just finding that balance. When you had the use case was Diriyah. Because like you said, there was a lot of space. It's already there. It has that significance as well.
Exactly. The context.
Yeah.
No, but again, I think he's talking in a different way. He's looking at it in terms of a visual style, correct? That's your point of view. And in terms of Arab cities generally, or the cities that we live in, it's not something that you look around and you say, hey, there's a recognizable style. It's all somewhat bland in terms of...
I would argue against that because you go to a lot of Arab regions, Arab cities, you would have certain distinct styles. Like Yemen had skyscrapers 1,000 years ago. Ya Abu Shabab.
Yeah.
And you go to the south, there are, Qatt al-Asiri, and you go to Morocco, you go to Algeria, you have those types of architecture. There is a distinct style that you might not be familiar with it at a glance is different than it not existing, I would say.
And it's not, I feel like there's spots, yes. Like if you speak about Egypt has a lot of style, but you see it in certain spots. it's not encouraged to have that style everywhere else.
Mm.
I'm not saying that, make one whole city look the same exact way. That's boring as hell. But encouraging to keep that style and to rethink that style is always amazing.
It's all about preservation. That's the thing. Okay, you see, you
have
see that.
One area to preserve, but the new areas.
No, I'm talking about areas. I'm talking about specific buildings. حتى. You see that in Europe a lot. You walk around and you see a plaque on a building that has this whole history and everything. And okay, nobody touched this. Nobody changed this.
Though we do
Historical
have,
signage.
though we do have that for us, but again, ties back to the awareness versus
True.
being it actually there. Like we have أوقاف من عثمان بن عفان رضي الله عنه لا زالت موجودة الآن يعني.
Mm-hmm.
It's been untouched for 1400 years. And you go there and you say هذا وقف من ايش اسمه عثمان بن عفان رضي الله عنه. So there is example if you look.
Are we aware of them?
That's
Do
the
we
point.
know where they are? Do we know? That's the thing. That's the issue. That's us. That's not the.
I think there's been a lot of announcements about a lot of historical sites that we have here.
Yes.
And there's been a lot of preservations that have been put in place, a lot of work, a lot of improvements and upgrading.
And have you heard of any of them before the announcement?
Me personally, hell no.
لا, barely. يعني.
But now you know it. Again, the size of our country compared to other countries is ridiculous.
True.
So we have a lot to offer with a huge population.
There was an announcement about Al Balad a couple of days ago. I don't know if you guys saw that. They did an excavation and they found excavation and they found like a large,
Excavate yourself.
a large number of artifacts that time through numerous time periods. But that also is still being explored in terms of the history of these different places that we're talking about. But I think in terms of the styles, generally, I understand what you're saying. Yes, there are these different motifs in different places. You do find them. Everybody has their own style. But I feel like general Arab cities all look the same.
You're describing modernity and how it is.
But again, compared to Europe,
which
no,
period?
it's not the same. It's not the same. Europe, you walk
Which
around.
period are you talking about? That's the question.
Modern Arab cities. Talk about modern.
Today.
The identity of the city. What time period do you identify it by? That's the question.
What do you mean?
Europe, you had the Gothic era, you had the
Emo
Renaissance, you had the
Europe.
Baroque.
I'm gonna go to Prague, and it's gonna look different than me walking around in Croatia, and it's gonna look different than me walking around in Italy, exactly,
France.
and it's gonna look different than me walking around in Spain. I'm gonna go to Amman. I'm gonna go to Riyadh. I'm gonna go to Al Jazair. I'm gonna feel the same thing. It's all gonna be cars. It's all gonna be buildings that are the same. It's all gonna be roads.
Your problem isn't architectural.
So it is modernity. Yes.
Yeah, your problem is with urbanization.
Yes.
That's your problem.
Yeah.
I don't think that's our problem. I think that's the problem.
That's a problem, perhaps the problem, because once you fit into that standard urban model, you tend to lose a lot of identity, a lot of heritage, a lot of culture to pure functionality.
When you travel somewhere, you want to feel like you're somewhere else, right?
You want to feel the spirit of the place.
All of the different aspects,
Which
of
is why
those
Diriyah
cities.
is so nice, right? Diriyah is because it gives you that feeling of you being in a different place.
Coming out with the flu.
Sorry.
And the balad as well. Like those examples.
Balad,
Yes.
Ula.
But all those areas look different because there was a
dynasty,
an appreciation, and what do you call it?
A desire to preserve.
No, investment in arts. بشكل عام. Look at all the painters, the sculptors, the architects that came out of there.
Okay.
عندك هنا
they were heroes.
the arts that we cared about were completely different. عندك poetry. And what arts do we have?
Horse riding.
And also poetry. It was different.
Okay.
Those don't translate into buildings. صح إنه you do have الزخرفة في المساجد شو اسمه?
Very foreign for you.
There's that Islamic style of
exactly
geometric shapes.
Yes. خط العربي. Those are the arts that we cared about back in the day. But that got preserved.
And you said poetry?
Poetry also. Yes.
We
have five. We have poetry, horse riding, poetry, calligraphy.
Sadu.
the Sedu poetry.
Sedu poetry.
Yeah.
Speaking of Sedu poetry, let's move on. Jazz Festival. Your
Jazz
boys
Festival.
attended it. I've been busy as a young
So
being.
this weekend had the launch of the first Riyadh International Jazz Festival, as held by the MOC and by the Music Commission. It was held in Mayadeen, which is the very, very nice exhibition space they have in Diriyah for different activities. Turks, you were there Wednesday.
I was, yeah.
How was your experience?
Turks had a family night out.
Yeah. Well, technically. Yeah.
Technically.
They bought five tickets. We were 6 people. And I went, I'm Spartacus.
Numbers wrong.
Hey, numbers wrong.
I mean, goddamn, Turks, get the message.
I tried. Yo, they tried. Marra. But I went like, you know what? I'm going to go there.
Get married.
I'm going to get myself a ticket. VIP was sold out by that time. So I got a GA ticket. I was all the way in not the last row, the one before. So alhamdulillah. But I can see them all the way up to the front. كده. نزلت سلم عليهم. Hello, Saya.
Okay, your parents.
So you enjoyed Fulana?
Fulana was nice. Yeah. She did a good job, صراحة.
What else? Because you said something for the podcast. I'm trying to see if you can say it
شوف.
right here.
شوف.
I have an issue.
حبة شوف.
I have it.
أعطيني شوف.
شوف.
Yeah. شوف.
Fulana is great. Amazing performance. It's not jazz, but amazing.
Honestly,
Okay.
honestly,
Loved her performance.
honestly,
صراحة.
I'm a fan.
She
of,
gained a fan.
I'm a fan of Allana, personally.
Okay.
And that's the alter ego.
You don't
But
talk.
then, ew.
You don't talk. And poetry. Okay.
I had to.
My issue
Yes.
is with events in general.
No. Let's take it back for a second, okay?
What? I'm not
Can-
going to talk about anything else.
Can you tell me what
No.
Ask the question
What?
first, then you can tell me no.
You know?
Can you please tell us what your father said?
لا, can I plead the fifth? ولا?
you can.
لا,
I
لا,
just
لا.
want to see if
My
you can say it.
dad appreciates jazz.
Yes.
Okay.
And let's keep it at that.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's keep it
He
at
likes
that.
jazz.
That's what he was looking for.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
He came for jazz.
Yeah.
As I'm sure a lot of people
He
did.
got Fulana.
He really enjoyed jazz.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Yeah. Anyway,
Did he enjoy jazz?
he really,
He really enjoyed
it.
jazz.
Alhamdulillah.
When jazz started.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
My issue is with events in general هنا عندنا. Okay.
Mhm.
I need to know when the show starts. Don't bait me. Don't tell me, yo,
Bait me.
we're gonna start 7 o'clock. Be ready. And then you start an hour and a half after.
So you showed up at 7 and you waited for an hour and a half until the show actually started.
Yeah.
So sorry,
And then
8:30.
we had a 15-minute intermission between acts. And I had other places to go, بصراحة.
Did it say doors open at 7 or show starts at 7?
I think
Starting time.
starting
Is it?
time.
Look
Yeah,
at
see,
it.
that's a very good question. Actually, that's
Exactly.
a very good question.
That's marketing
Yeah.
speak for whenever we're ready.
We're
No,
not
that's-
sure.
Doors open at 7.
Technically right. Is the
So-
best
Show
kind of
starts at
Show
7.
starts at 7.
Yeah.
Mm.
بداية العرض.
Okay. So maybe because it's a Wednesday, they're like people just got off.
But that's
work.
something you find in every single event عندك
That's
هنا.
actually true.
Well, in my situation, I
Talking
was
about
there.
Boulevard, talking about
Except Middle Beast.
They start on time.
Let's just give them
They
credit.
do.
I mean,
Yeah,
Middle,
they
Middle
actually
Beast
do.
is on
Yes,
time.
yes, yeah.
You gotta give credit to
Yeah,
Middle
sure.
Beast. They're always on time.
I was.
They do.
I was.
Maybe we're not the same lineup, but they're still on
Yeah.
time. It's still on time.
different. We're talking about time here. not
Exactly.
people.
Time just started.
Okay.
Anyway.
I was there for the Thursday show. I took the advice of people like Turks by telling me don't go early. So I ended up showing at 8:20, تقريبا 10 minutes in. The show started immediately. It was fun, honestly.
Yeah.
It was fun. Majaz was the opening band on Thursday. They're a Bahraini fusion band that, again, it wasn't jazz, right? I wouldn't call it jazz, honestly, but it was incredibly good music, right? They are super talented. It was not something that I didn't really hear before. And I was sitting there with Nawaf Entitled, and I was actually interested in seeing his opinion as a musician. Like, bro, and at some point I was like, bro, what do you even call this? Like, what is the name that you would describe? And he was like, this is Oriental jazz. I'm like, bro, but
That sounds wrong.
It's, no, it's
okay.
just like,
That sounds like a maneuver.
how would you describe, how would you describe jazz though, right?
I hit him with the Orient.
Never know what's hit him.
Like, that's the question. What is even jazz, right? Like,
That's an R&B black Asian singer.
I didn't even know. So it was very, very fun seeing Majaz. And then after that, you had.
They had jazz in their name. What do you mean they got
See,
jazz?
that was what he said, right? That was
What do
literally
you mean it wasn't
that
jazz?
was literally Nawaf's argument. He was like, "Well, their name is Majaz. Like, you know, there's a little bit of jazz.
Not
there.
your jazz.
Not
my
my
jazz.
jazz.
What kind of music was it exactly? Don't hit me with big or
No, it was like instrumental post rock
Did you enjoy it?
vibes. Very much.
All right.
Very much. And for
Hello,
me,
nice. Ew.
What was the second act? There was also the 15-minute intermission after that. We went out, grabbed some air. One of my criticisms about the event, it's a large space, right? I don't know how
It's a beautiful
much.
space,
Yeah, it's a
actually,
really
yeah.
beautiful space.
Yeah.
It's set up a nice way. You're arranged, or around the stage.
He's gonna talk about food, isn't he?
There is no food options. Yo, no, for real.
You cut him off quick.
Listen, man, I am there. Assume I am there like poor Turks. I arrive at 7 p.m. Right? I'm here for.
Hey, Turks isn't poor. He's rich in spirit.
Okay.
It doesn't need a
Yeah,
chance.
no,
It doesn't
no,
need
no,
a chance.
no.
It
No,
doesn't.
but again, I'm going there for a full evening of musical entertainment, right? I'm gonna get hungry at some point, bro. And having one stand with very, minimal amount of options is not gonna do something
There were
for a lot of
tacos.
people.
I
That's
had
that's the one
tacos.
stand. That's the
Yeah.
one stand. Exactly. What if I'm not a taco guy? What if I'm a vegetarian? So there was.
Eat the tortilla.
Shut the hell up. Give us a good excuse, Ines.
Yeah, I mean
I'm a vegetarian.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, hold up. What's her name?
There is no food options
Okay.
that was available, which led to what happening.
What? You got
Nawaf
hungry?
literally ditching the fuck out of me. He's like, "Yo, I'm bouncing to go get food."
Mm.
Yeah, we're here watching the show. Nah, I'm hungry. I need to go eat. Peace. That wasn't expected.
That was Thursday?
That was Thursday. I'm trying to remember who the second act was. Remember who the second act was?
I can pull
Please,
it up.
please do.
right
The
now,
second
yeah.
act with the second act, Kokoroko. Second act was a band called Kokoroko from the UK. Great band, 8-piece, 8 different individuals.
Eight-piece. What?
Also very fresh
Chicken nugget?
sounds. That was a lot more jazzy than the first one. And then you had Shaka Khan. In my defense,
Sorry, what?
Shaka Khan.
Shukran.
In my defense, I'm not very familiar with her music.
Are you
What?
serious?
Are you
In my-
serious?
I'm-
Hey, yo.
Yeah, but
I Am Every Woman?
I did recognize some of the songs,
Oh
and
my
she
God.
was incredible. Honestly,
Some
No
of the songs
shit.
like
no,
what?
she was really good.
Yeah.
Like, yo, no.
Shaka.
Yo, she
No,
is,
we know. No. We know.
She is 70,
La.
and wow, like her voice. No, for real, bro. Her voice.
The disrespect.
I'm
I
just-
apologize. Your
Miss Khan,
greatness.
Yeah,
Miss Khan. No, this way.
No.
no,
right.
that's not what you call
All
it.
right. No. Don't talk.
So that was on Thursday, and then Friday, honestly, for me was a.
But hold up. Let's go back.
Mm.
So you didn't know who she was, and you were blown away.
Yes.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. The music was great. Her presence on stage, the way that she's talking to the crowd, the way that she
It
was.
sounds like she did it before, huh?
Sounds like she's a pro, but dude, sounds like she's a pro.
Just saying.
Honestly, yeah. Really enjoyable night. Honestly,
She could
really.
have had a career if she just started earlier.
I mean, honestly, and
Real
and-
up and coming.
And
That's
you know,
Shaka Khan.
you know what? Also, what I really appreciate on Thursday, the crowd was super diverse. Like a very large percentage of non-Saudis, very large percentage of like families.
Start of the weekend.
older couples. So it was. Again,
you were describing the bougie level. Can we hear your
no.
experience?
This is the regular seats on Thursday.
Because I heard
Yeah.
very different experience from Turks on the regular seats.
Okay.
Well, the seats were
Keep in mind,
were
he
fun.
was at the end.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was way back.
He was in the nosebleed,
Way
ladies and
back.
gentlemen.
Yeah. I was so I was jealous of my family that are in the VIP section, okay, where in the intermission and before the show, they had their own show happening outside, which I could listen to, but I can't see.
Yeah, so that was my experience on Friday.
Yeah.
On Friday, I ended up getting the VIP seats. It's a different waiting reception area that doesn't have any tacos, for the record,
Oh, interesting.
but it does have its own kind of like jazz quartet, I would say. Quartet, entertaining people prior to the show and in between the different
حلو.
interludes. Friday had Garwasha, which was honestly incredible to watch.
They're always cool.
Shout out to the homies, Maz and Kush. It's so beautiful for me seeing my friends that used to practice in a garage 6-7 years ago, opening up for a musical, for MOC Music Commission event.
Yeah.
And it was, and they admitted that themselves. Like, yo, we would have. They said it while they were on stage. They never imagined that they would have this opportunity, and just seeing their families and their friends and everybody just showing up, honestly, was just a beautiful moment. Not to mention they're incredible as a band. Like that was jazz. I will give them that. That was jazz. They really did give us jazz, and the songs they played were inspired by different sounds. Like they had like a Brazilian samba inspired sound. They had a bunch of Arabic inspired tracks. So that was really fun for me. The second band, Highest Coyote, was also incredibly good. At that point, we ended up meeting a couple of friends and going to so they had basically a jazz green room where you had different bands performing also between the different acts. So that was a nice experience as well. Masego was great. Overall, just a really, really wonderful weekend for me. Enjoying different musical sounds and over the 2 different days. Well done to the Music Commission for organizing it. Well done to everybody involved in the actual space. I thought it was really well done. It was smooth to get in. It was smooth to get out. It was fun. My criticism.
ما في زحمة كذا حقت شارع whatsoever.
لا. حتى يعني just the vibe. Everybody's happy. Everybody's enjoying.
Yeah.
Some people complained about the fact that it was seated. Like you saw some people wanting to dance and get up, right?
That was my issue.
That was your issue?
That was my issue.
And
when I saw Wednesday, I wasn't too hyped about the other days. Because when I'm thinking of that, again, this is like a personal choice. Okay, like I understand why the Music Commission took this route. It's more you showing an appreciation to these artists and this great music.
Exactly. And
Right?
the audience.
And
keep in mind, أركب.
but at the same time, I think at the same time, you would have loved even as a musician to watch people move to your music.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So I would have loved if it was just round tables with open spaces where people can walk around, go get food, just have fun and enjoy themselves.
that would be too noisy. That would be too.
You are an
hear
old woman.
cutlery and clink clink and
No, but it's a different type of show. I get what you're saying.
Okay, no, not the extent.
And you're talking similar to Arabic concerts where it's big tables, asha, people having their own space in a sense. Yes.
It's not about having your own space. It's about making the place live enough for people to move around and actually mingle and dance and enjoy themselves. I know the dance part is still way too early.
Yeah.
But the idea is you every time you go see jazz live, it's the ambiance. It's everything around it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you hear everything. You hear glass bottles. You hear everything being struck around you. But at the same time, the music is so loud. You're just in love.
But that's 2 different types of jazz performances. Let's say,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
You
I
have
agree with you 100%.
you have the jazz lounge performance, and you have the jazz concert performance. The jazz lounge, yes, I get it. You have the tables. You got people sitting there. You got it's an ambiance thing. The jazz concert thing. Rarely do you find a jazz concert without seats. Like people are going to be hopping with the music and everything. No, you want people that are sitting down and enjoying.
Yeah, my problem was not that them having seat stirs.
The problem was not having a space
The
for
mingling
people.
part.
No, the problem. His problem was not having a space for people to actually get up and dance. Like you're seated there for the entire performance.
Jazz
You're in your seat.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
like
I'm
jazz,
sitting
swaying.
I'm sitting next
Yeah,
to
you're going to the
Shamsi, right?
Royal Albert Hall. طيب مثلا.
I'm sitting next to Shamsi having a conversation. I see Turks on the other side. I want to go and hang out with them and enjoy the music with them also.
Yeah,
See what I mean?
I get your point.
This is like, again, it's a personal choice. I'm not saying that they're right or wrong. I'm not saying it was a bad approach. No, none of that. Again, like Turk said, there's this and there's that, and
Exactly.
both of them work.
Yes.
Would you call it a concert?
I would call it.
It looked like a concert.
Yeah.
It is a concert.
Actually, no,
I would call it a concert. Yes, it's not a like people. It's not like a pop concert or a rock concert, hip hop concert. No, it's different. It's jazz. Something elevated.
Some people are saying,
Elegance.
no, this is not a concert because I'm sitting down because I can't get up and dance because I can't, like it's more of a show rather than a concert. Again, it's just semantics, and I'm just asking.
Again,
No, the different kind of concert.
Personally, when I go somewhere, I want to have that feeling that I can remember this moment. But if I'm just sitting down watching someone, I'm just watching a performance.
That's the
A performance.
whole idea.
Okay, so
exactly.
performance.
No, you go to an orchestra.
You're gonna sit down.
What's أملأ الفراغ? Orchestra what? Show? Concert? Recital?
orchestra.
Well, what's an orchestra recital? Is it a concert?
It
is
for
a
me,
concert.
it is a concert.
Yes,
And if
exactly.
somebody is
But
performing,
it's a different type of concert.
Yeah, if somebody's
It's not,
performing, it's a concert.
It's not a dance floor concert. It's a
Honestly, it's an
VIP seats concert.
It's I hope that this is the first of many similar shows done by. There was a jazz festival that we went to 4 years ago. I don't know if you remember
Grooves.
that. Yeah, Grooves.
Yeah,
But I don't think that was an MOC Music Commission thing.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
And you know what?
There was a car show for
One of the things I appreciated, honestly, shout out to Paul from the Music Commission.
Yeah.
I ended up meeting him on Friday. We had a conversation, and something he said really struck me. He's like we were very picky about who we wanted to bring, and we chose purposefully on Friday to have Garwasha open up for Hayes County because they told us that they were inspiration for them.
Nice.
Because we wanted them to actually connect with these people. It's not just about parachuting anybody in. It's not just about bringing in big names. No,
That's Paul.
Yeah, it's about bringing in people who will leave a legacy, and I really appreciated that because
we talked about it when we went to LA. I told you Paul is one of my favorite CEOs.
Honestly,
of all the commissions,
and I really appreciate it because that's something that I personally experienced. Like I remember the Kabsa Boys. They would practice, and then they would practice in their garage 6-7 years ago, and then we'd go sit down and watch YouTube videos of people like Hayes Coyote, and then just seeing them open up for them today or yesterday, it was just a beautiful, beautiful thing. These are the people that you looked up to.
This is one of the excuse me. This is one of the great moments when you have someone in a position that understands his mission. He understands that whatever he does, he'll either open up doors or set things back. And a lot of the focus that I see Paul doing is trying to figure out how to open doors and inspire. Because he doesn't think about just the end result. He thinks about the whole effect from ground up. How does this affect grassroots? How does this affect this in this way? So the way that he looks into things and the way he makes decisions, it's much, much deeper and a little bit harder than most other commissions, because he doesn't just want to do things to check off a KPI. No, he wants to make sure that if I'm checking this off, that at least X amount of people benefit off of this. So it's beautiful to have someone that actually thinks that way. And shout out to him. Shout out to Hala.
Yeah,
shout out to everyone at MOC.
Shout out to everybody who came and performed. Honestly,
shout out to everybody. Everybody that attended.
The fact that it was sold out, by the way, it was sold out Thursday and Friday. Were sold out. People were literally calling me left and right asking for tickets. It became like, yo, this is the thing that we want to come and do on the weekend. Honestly, would love to see more and more of that.
Next time, bigger stage. There's an audience.
Honestly, more shows. I would say more shows. Keep it running for longer. Not just don't just do it for 3 days. Do it for a whole week. Like give me an entire.
For that kind of space, that's too much.
No.
But trust me, the space is big
imagine.
That's too. That's too much. You're not gonna have enough people coming out for a whole week.
No, think of it as a Riyadh Jazz Week.
Yeah.
Okay, it got jazz activations all around Riyadh.
You would do that.
That would be fun.
Actually.
That would be really nice.
You'd have it in an area that's a bit more walkable, like you'd say.
I don't know, the Boulevard.
The Boulevard, CAF, a
walkable place with a lot of stages. Yeah, makes sense.
Oh, it sounds like you're trying to create a vibe, Shamsi.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm trying to bring more music.
Oh, it sounds like you're trying to create a vibe. That's exactly what I was talking about. I feel like it has more to offer for me personally. Like when you go to Middle Beast, right?
You're walking around.
You walk around with your people, and you're creating memories as you walk around. You know what I mean?
I get you.
So I just hope more of that. Again, it's a start.
No, definitely, and
we'll judge in a couple of years.
Love to see more of it.
Hopefully, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Other than that, next things. You guys want to talk about Google advertisement changes?
What?
I put it up on our socials, right?
Yeah, I could spot the shade.
Are they now not going to give us more money?
No, let me show you. So
They never gave us money.
Google sent this out, okay? And the timing is ridiculous. Dear advertiser, in February 2024, Google will update an appropriate content policy to clarify the definition of sensitive events. A sensitive event is an unforeseen event or development that creates significant risk to Google's ability to provide high quality, relevant information and ground truth.
Curious.
And reduce insensitive or exploitive content and prominent and monetized features. During a sensitive event, we may take a variety of actions to address these risks. Example of a sensitive event includes events with significant social, cultural, or political impact, such as civil emergencies, natural disasters, public health emergencies, terrorism, and related activities. Conflict or mass acts of violence.
Ethnic cleansing.
That is the most PC term I've ever heard.
More
for ethnic cleansing.
More policing of information and
sensitive
my freedom to speech.
This year is a what year, Shamsi?
It's a weird
Election year.
was gonna say you're the
I was
rabbit.
gonna say leap year, but okay.
No fools. No fools.
Groundhog year.
Welcome back, Turks. It's like you never done.
Thank you.
So it's an election year.
Mhm.
If they released this during COVID, we would have been like, huh? And if they released this during the whole Gaza thing, we would have been like, huh? But it turns out elections is way more important than anything else.
No, definitely, it's a sensitive event, Badul.
Did you hear about the special counsel that was assessing the mental faculties of a certain sitting president?
Okay.
Yeah, this guy. Why are you talking Morse code? just spit it out, bro.
No, this is basically my comedy sense. Basically,
I know, it's
a
funny.
statement was released by a special counsel that was assessing Joe Biden has trouble remembering things. And he said, and as a response, the president, Joe Biden, the guy who has access to the button, said, I remember everything. Don't worry about me. So, President. That's not the joke.
Then he went out to do what?
I remember everything. Don't worry about me. So, President of Mexico, Al Sisi.
He called the CC president of Mexico.
Wow.
Donald Trump put a post of Gaza and under it says Mexico.
Abdel Fattah al Mexiqui.
They're all in the south, bro. They're all in
You
the
just see the
south.
video of this person took a speech from Sisi and put it through AI and he's talking in Spanish.
Spanish?
Oh, wow.
Haram.
The internet does not wait for an opportunity. I appreciate
Okay.
that a lot. No, but Sani, are we surprised that Google is going to take this decision to control information? That's literally what they've been doing for the past 10 years.
I find it funny that
Controlling the flow of information to
Exactly.
serve their purposes.
they never said it publicly. But at that time, they had control of Twitter.
Mm.
But now Twitter is,
X.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's not what it was before.
It's off the hinge.
Exactly.
awesome.
Right, and
It's
and
going to
it
give
go-
it to you.
And it's getting wilder and wilder by the day. So,
It's streaking.
when you, Shams, can I finish my sentence, bro?
Go.
So now you're telling me that at a time where X is going to play a major role in shaping the thinking of the American voter, you would start to take on this action. Funny how Democrats do shit.
No, but you do. They're using that excuse of, hey, look at what happened during 2016. Let's make sure that doesn't happen again, but on a bigger level now.
But what happened though?
Jamiroquai happened.
What happened though?
The voters were misled by, like, you remember that whole Brexit
I know.
stuff?
I remember. I
Yeah,
remember.
the
I
whole,
remember.
that's the thing. Like, people, some say the Russians, some say the bots,
I know.
were able to manipulate other people into,
But that was in what?
on Twitter,
In what year?
2016.
All right. So then we had elections, right?
Mhm.
And then Donald Trump came on. And it was like, oh, the facts, oh, the lies.
Mm.
And then after
And then
that,
we had COVID.
And then we had COVID.
Yeah.
And then we had Biden come in.
Mm.
And since Biden came in, it's been the worst 4 years that this region has ever fucking seen. Right?
Yeah.
We've been having a lot of problems here, non-stop wars, everything's burning around us. And it's all because he doesn't want to tell us to stop.
And he doesn't give a shit about the region.
Exactly. Now you're telling me that we all know that you're gonna lose. And you're not gonna be able to win. And there's gonna be so much facts gonna be thrown at
It's
you.
called Sakin Didaki Badul.
And so basically Google makes this announcement saying, oh, if it's a sensitive event, we're gonna withhold things.
You know what could be a sensitive event? The mental faculties of the sitting president.
It's not sensitive.
No, for real. No.
Fun
You get
fact.
my point, bro?
I get what you
In
mean.
terms of controlling information. Oh, by the way, this
That's
is...
not true. Let's close it down.
Yeah, exactly. This is something you guys should talk about this.
Yeah.
Ooh, you see the birds?
Fun fact.
I want.
Adi.
Excuse me. Sorry. I'm looking forward to what's going to happen between Google, New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, and Fox, because those guys are going to be moving their own people, right, with their own
Royal
agendas. Now, what is Google going to do? Are they going to block one side, leave another? That exposes Google for what it's doing, and that's a lawsuit on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's just going to go create its own news channel and say, hey, G News, let's go.
Oh, it's going to be very hard. Your
Fun-
clinicians
Because you
don't.
see that.
No, it's like,
Yeah,
they're not
yeah.
going to do that. No.
Yeah.
There's already entities that are in place that everybody's watching. So if you block one of them, it already shows that you
No,
take
it's not even block. It's about offering up an alternate source of
No.
information.
Google has to remain muhaydin دائما.
Ha.
They can't pick a side.
Ha.
Do you think Google... yeah, exactly. Do you think Google...
I'm not saying they're
Do
not.
you think they have
But
been?
publicly,
But do you think Google have
no,
Yeah.
we're not doing anything.
Fun fact.
If they come out with a news channel, it's gonna have to pick a side.
Yeah, fun fact. The sitting president, Mr. Joseph Biden Jr.,
Mm.
tweeted a tweet,
Joseph
Joseph.
Biden Jr.
Joseph Biden Jr. tweeted a tweet basically saying, "I couldn't do this without you, Kamala Harris." And they were like, "Oh wow, they're soft launching the Kamala Harris presidency."
Okay, no.
ايش في؟
Kamala Harris does not do anything for
It's
people
VP
to remember her.
basically. Yeah.
Exactly. She was like one of the VPs that no one heard about them.
She did a lot for
Nothing.
cops.
Anyways,
In other news,
so Google being Google, we'll have to wait and see what happens to our sensitive content when it comes to Palestine.
everything is sensitive about it
Mhm.
at this point.
We'll see if this is going to be considered a sensitive event where Israel has more power.
Oh, definitely. You don't want to hurt the feelings of Israel.
Have
by
the past
by telling
75
the
years
truth.
not been a clue? Yeah, I had.
Yeah.
Well, Google doesn't know that.
The truth is a sensitive event, yeah, Abdul. Yeah. Because it clashes with my reality.
If this really takes an effect where we see that only the chosen pieces that Google wants you to hear about, and we can see that Google's taking sides, I think we're getting closer to a multipolar world.
And the end of Google.
No, I don't think end of Google. I think everyone is basically going to say, listen, we can create our own Googles. We can create our own search engines. Look at China was doing. We don't need to deal with this bullshit.
Well, that's kind of not. In
And we
terms-
had this conversation on the podcast.
Yeah, I know.
a year and a half ago.
But yeah, I remember that. But it's not just about creating your own Google at this point. It's about creating your own truth, and that's kind of what this is about, right? It's about not manipulating, but let's say setting the constraints on the boundaries of what should be acceptable, the limits of the media conversation. You know, framing of the actual issue.
There's a distinction to me be made between quote unquote freedom of speech and responsible speech. Because freedom, I can say whatever I want, and whatever I want can include bullshit
Most of the time.
most of the time. Like I said, Jamiroquai thought that Hillary Clinton was a vampire.
Jamiroquai. Okay, I love that. Jamiroquai is a reference now.
Yeah. So the idea here is that you have the responsibility as a individual who is informed to maintain a high level of skepticism in this day and age. Otherwise, you're going to be in for a rough time the next few years.
Oh, well, speaking of tech, I have been seeing the videos for the Vision Pro.
Yeah.
How y'all feeling?
Okay.
How y'all feeling?
Bro, people, it just looks wrong, man. That you're tapping in the air where you're sitting in a subway. It just looks weird. I don't know. I'm just waiting.
It looks weird now.
I'm waiting for people to just get robbed. Honestly, like
What's going to happen?
Yeah, what's going to stop you from seeing the guy that's running from behind you and ripping it off your head?
My
Especially
morals.
with AR and 3D, just someone jumping off screen, just punching you in the face.
Yeah,
You're moral?
My morals will stop me.
You're a moron.
Yeah. No.
Yeah?
No.
Is
I said morals. With an L.
This is also forgetting about the people who are going to use it while they're driving, because you know people are going to use it while they're
They already
driving.
did.
They're already doing that.
With the Tesla.
That sounds like a very good way to
It
crash
shouldn't
into
work,
something.
though. Should it?
Well, okay. There's a lot of videos going around,
Yeah.
and all those people are just bullshitting. There's a guy walking around going like this with his hands the whole time. You know when you're walking around with it, you can't do that shit.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people wearing it in places and doing things which is not real just to get clout on the internet. So from the videos that I saw, there's a lot of things that you can do.
Okay.
And there's some things that you can do. Now in a car, I haven't seen someone actually turn on in the car. We saw it in an airplane. We saw it
There's okay.
people walking through the streets.
Saw it in the subway, which did not
Subway,
work.
which did not work.
Yeah.
That
Because
Casey
it kept
Neistat
tracking
did.
the screens back. Like, wee.
We're still moving.
At the same time, the idea of people walking around and using it, if you put a screen and you walk, you're walking away from the screen.
Exactly.
So how are you walking doing this shit?
doesn't
I'm willing
screen
to
walk
bet
with you?
the
No.
next update is gonna have the
Motion tracking?
not motion tracking. It's just fixed positioning. It's not gonna be okay. I'm
Forget
gonna
the
place
surrounding, leave it right here
it.
forever.
Exactly. Yes.
They could already have it.
They
But
probably already
but I remember
do.
the fixed one that they already have is that it's
Yeah.
fixed in one location.
It seems.
Yeah, in a location. That's location based. I'm talking about goggles
Yeah,
based. خلاص. Okay, it's in that corner of my peripheral vision.
Just leave it there.
Ew,
Yeah,
exactly.
to me, it seems like having it fixed to your location would be easier than have it be fixed to the
it's
relative.
just a
Yeah,
software issue.
that's easier.
Yeah.
Much easier than having it like fixed to a place كده in real life. But Yeah, exactly. It's software. Is that feature
It's
available,
software.
or is it like a patch? بس
No, but
نزله خلاص.
isn't it supposed to be just a patch?
It should be,
what I'm
yeah,
imagining,
yeah.
like.
Everyone's talking about, oh, we're already waiting for the next version of it.
Yeah.
This thing comes with an M2 chip, bro. It could last you a good 5 years with updates.
Yeah, just updates.
Yeah.
Literally just updates.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
But I want something lighter. I want something with a bigger battery.
Imagine this. Imagine they keep it as it is right now, right? The same size for like, let's say 3 years.
They
4
do a
years.
Pro version.
Hey, let's not. It's already called the
it is
Vision
a-
Pro. Yeah, Fahi.
Oh,
There is no Vision
Hey,
Lite.
this guy's
Yeah.
dumb.
That's your
Yeah,
glasses.
yeah,
Yeah,
bro. Yes.
Jamsi.
okay.
So imagine that. Okay, this is good tech that we can keep it as is for 3 years, and we can update it as much as we want. It won't cause any problems, right?
Mm.
So in 3 years, better than trying to give you something new every single time, is just start adding things that you already had, but it's not applicable right now.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Screen sharing.
It's for you to share your screen with somebody else.
Let's say all 4 of us are sitting here with Vision Pros, and I'm playing something I want to tap all you guys in.
Not even more dystopia. It's much more dystopia.
It doesn't sound hard, does it?
No, it doesn't.
That's what I mean.
What do you, why? Hold up.
So
We're all sitting in the same place.
So
Yes.
we live in the same world, Turks.
No, like we're like right now we're not even doing a podcast. We're sitting
Yeah.
down watching TV, right?
Yeah.
And I'm working on something specific, and I want you guys to tap in and look at it. I can say, "Yo, screen," all of you tap in, and then all of you start looking through my windows and my reality.
So we see we see the world through Adil's eyes.
Okay. I get it.
Mm.
Interesting. That kind of screen. Because I know, I think it already has. No, romance.
I'll have to recuse myself. You don't want to see my screen.
No. Of course.
Oh,
Of
definitely,
course
bro.
not. No. I don't even want to imagine the wallpaper
First
you're
off,
going to have.
you can't even put one on. You're gonna wait for the Vision Pro XXL or some shit.
Why you
He's
gotta
going to
do that to
jailbreak
me?
that.
Adil? Why you gotta remind
Yeah.
me?
They're gonna engineer one, Abdul. Around his head.
He's gonna have like a belt.
Yeah.
What's
Hold
that
it
belt
together.
weightlifters use? that one. That's what he's going to use. Yeah.
Just around his head,
Shit.
and it doesn't reach.
صدق استاهل
Wow.
استاهل.
That's what you get for jumping into the conversation.
I think it already has screen share, but that's like a video. Okay, let's all watch the video all at the same time. That's the FaceTime thing.
That's
But-
the FaceTime one. Yes.
Yeah, but using like the space كده إن كلنا طابين في نفس ال virtual space.
Yeah.
That's gonna be.
Bro, that's a very easy fix. I feel like it's not a difficult thing to do. You know, I can imagine
tracking.
the fact is right now.
I don't think it's easy. Yeah.
I think it has.
Keep
enough-
in mind, none of us know shit about software or coding.
or spatial computing.
No, I think it has enough processing power to be able to handle that. But how many will it be able to handle? And when they tap in, how much is the resolution? All that stuff. That's the question.
Yeah, but you can have a lot of bugs that you need to fix. Because I noticed that the location that the person is looking at to tap is always
In focus.
in focus. الباقي كله gets a tiny bit blurred. How is it gonna translate to other people looking at your screen? Is everything gonna be blurred, or they're gonna have to find the area that is in focus to know exactly where you're looking at?
Well, that's the thing. I'm not talking about just sharing my screen for you guys to see what I'm seeing. It's for actually look at it through your lens while it stands there.
Yeah.
So you
yeah.
guys
share your screens.
Yeah.
basically.
So I share you the screen. Your processing unit will look at where your eyes is and blur whatever needs to blur out.
Yeah.
rather than having my processor do that for everybody
okay,
else.
Okay.
That piqued an interesting question in my mind when you said how powerful is the M2 chip and you're gonna be satisfied for a long time with just software updates. My question is, again, it might be a pivot away from the topic of the Apple Vision Pro, but why hasn't modular hardware taken off yet?
Because it hasn't been built well to
What? Wait,
it
modular
hasn't-
hardware?
It hasn't
Modular
been built
hardware.
well enough.
Like-
No.
There have been
no.
previous examples.
Built
That's-
well enough.
All right, give people a better example so he knows
So-
what we're talking about.
So, listeners, modular hardware is basically imagine you have a laptop or a cell phone, and instead of buying a new device, you just upgrade parts as you need to be as they keep getting released. I remember
Exactly.
there was a phone way back in the day that
Motorola.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
where just okay, there's a new camera. شيل camera وركب camera.
There's a laptop company that's doing that right now. You buy what you need and you can upgrade later on and get whatever you want.
But that's beneficial to who?
Exactly. The consumer.
Exactly.
Now, as a company,
Yeah.
I need you to keep purchasing, son.
Exactly.
If
Sir,
you're not
sir.
purchasing, it's going to be a problem.
That's why there are no Apple spare parts.
But
I mean, technically they are, but
Yes.
who's going to go
yeah,
fix an
but
Apple
again,
phone?
isn't that what the EU is kind of hammering Apple right now on?
And they got there. I mean, Apple makes
Yeah.
it easy for you to take off a screen now, change a battery. compared to
yeah,
before.
it's called the right to repair. Like,
Yeah.
didn't they just pass a law that says, yo, Apple, you have to have replaceable
Exactly. They had to
batteries.
get forced to come out with that and provide you that flexibility. But
At
would they
this-
do that on their own? Would they release
They're
a
not
modular?
incentivized.
They did release a modular PC. I mean, it's not a PC; it's a Mac. But who's using that? The cheese grater.
Oh, yeah, that one failed miserably.
Yeah.
But another question here: are we looking at the Vision Pro as this is what خلاص computing is going to be like? We're going to move away from laptops. and
This
we're
is-
gonna-
Oh, yeah.
First step for mankind.
Yeah.
ما عليك.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is step one. Like I told you, like we talked about it last time off the podcast. For like 10 years.
No, but in خلاص we see this and خلاص this is what it's going to be. Everybody's going to wear a
Yeah.
screen.
I honestly,
yeah.
I can't judge because back in the day when you said, what do you mean this phone doesn't have any buttons? Was the big thing. Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean?
Come on, it
What do you
also
mean I have
had
to tap on a screen?
it also had what do you mean I'm walking around with the phone in my pocket? You know, you had that 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But now we're getting to the point where it's literally a pair of glasses.
Yeah.
look-
And you have movies where it's a contact lens. So will we get there? Hopefully.
I'll
but
tell you where Apple won. Apple won and the user experience.
always.
They made it feel like, yo, this is so seamless for me. So you're like, oh, okay, now I'm interested. The design is something that you feel like is futuristic and also can last multiple years. You don't need to change it. So you're like, yo, this is smooth, good texture, good feeling. I love the feeling of the cover when I remove it. I love the feeling of the straps.
It doesn't feel too uncomfortable. when I
Exactly.
wear it.
They give you the Apple things that make you feel like you have a quality product. So they already won you in all of that. Now it's up to them to just give you the right software to keep you tapped in.
And to make other people want it.
Yes. I think down the line, some Apple products will get killed off because of this. But I don't know which ones.
Because this
No,
is
this
an
is-
entire new
this is-
line of
I said down the line.
but this
Yeah,
is
down the
a
line.
new line of computing, right? You're looking at Apple as a computer company primarily, right? And they have hardware, they have a desktop, they have a laptop, they have a phone, and now they have a headset. Once upon a time, they had an iPod. They no longer need to have an iPod. But what would this replace? The phone? What do you think? I don't know. Just
Well, for its price, if the price is never going to go down to $3,000, you might ignore the little Mac Studio. I don't need to sell a Mac Studio anymore. You can just get this. We'll give you everything that this offers and more.
and it's it's a stronger processor or whatever.
Yes.
The iPad might be a candidate to be replaced, but you still need
You
that.
still need that,
The artist community
Not
really
just
likes
that,
iPads.
old people.
The
If-
parent community needs
If
that
we
more.
Yeah,
get
also.
used to the idea of just this floating keyboard, why not just the iPad takes over what MacBooks are? Because it's already almost as powerful as a MacBook.
Is there a 3D sculpting app on the
iPad Pro, yes.
Vision Pro?
I think so. Vision Pro, no. I don't know.
Vision Pro.
I don't know.
There's gonna be one, obviously.
Yeah, sculpting in
It's gonna
real
be-
space. That's gonna be.
It's going to be hilarious watching you.
But it's a different software.
It's like Ghost.
my love, my darling.
Oh wow, that's a reference. Thank you, Turks.
Okay, we're buying him a new Vision Pro. Just so
Hey, I'm not gonna say no. If you want to, that's all you need.
Hey.
I'll do it. ما عليك.
Malik, من قط.
I think it's too early.
المايم worse. ما عليك.
You don't think you're getting one?
I don't think I'm getting one.
لسه.
I think after a couple of updates, I'll get one.
Two
But-
generations.
Yeah, but right now, I feel like we're in the early stages. I think it's a great fucking idea. Everything about it is amazing. I just need to wait for the right apps that will help me in my day to day. For me to say, okay, I'll skip.
I think for somebody, يعني ما أدري, I don't know. I'm thinking this could replace televisions at this point, right? Like you don't need to buy a TV if you can just get a Vision Pro.
I mean, there's a shared experience with the TV.
Yeah.
We're
That
talking about.
again-
us non-no-lifers can
We're
appreciate.
we're talking about somebody who lives alone, somebody who doesn't really have.
Yeah,
enough-
that person is definitely
Rather
going to
than
be.
buying a whole laptop, you can get a Vision Pro and an iPad for a college student.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was
Keyboard
gonna
and
say
mouse.
It's more
this-
expensive. More expensive though, no?
This
What do you mean?
It's Vision Pro is $4,000.
yeah, later down the
3,000
line.
something, but we're
Yeah,
talking about down the line.
I imagine later down the line, once it's been refined and more accessible, you might have a version that's perfect for the dorm room or whatever.
It
Yeah.
doesn't have a screen recording.
I don't
function,
think it's
does
gonna. It does. I don't think it's gonna be cheaper down the line.
Uh,
I think there's gonna be a cheaper version.
Yeah.
it? Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I meant.
This is the pro.
Vision,
You're gonna
Vision
have a
Light or something.
Vision,
Regular.
Vision Light. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's called
Pro.
color blindness, yeah, Shamsi.
Vision
Vision
Pro,
Light.
Vision Light.
That's called
Yeah.
stigmatism.
Vision Plus.
Oh.
No, but that can I not screen recording? Does it have reality recording? Like, can I record what I see?
That's
out of
called
the-
imagination.
When you're screen recording,
so,
you're
yeah.
recording everything that you're seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So anyway, so it's not just
If you
recording.
open an app, you're gonna see the app in the recording. If
Yeah.
you're not opening an app,
If
you're
the
taking
back,
a video.
If the back
Yeah.
is transparent, you're taking a video, basically.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on.
Yeah, you just described
Was
the camera.
is it? Wasn't that the main thing people had an issue with when it came to Google Glass?
That's Google Glass.
Google Glass
This is
was too
Apple.
early.
Man.
Also, Google Glass, like, you're talking someone who's going like this the whole time. It's like, yo, bro, what are you doing? You got Tourette's? What's happening here?
Okay, interesting. That was in terms of that.
Also, Google Glass looked ugly as hell.
that was I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
When talk about people had a problem with.
Yeah, people punched other people in the face, but that was
for-
back in the day.
Yeah, and that time, having a camera on in front of people's face, that was a no-no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But now everyone's
Now it's,
recording
For
everywhere.
For now, it's more acceptable.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
yeah,
Okay,
much more.
interesting. Oh, how
I
the
still
times
remember,
they
I
changed.
still remember when I was in
Google
a
are
public
kicking
place.
themselves.
I was in a public place here. You were with me.
Mm.
I'm not gonna say where it was. And I was recording something, and this girl came. She's like, "Can you please delete?" I was like, "Why?" She's like, "Oh, I'm standing here." I'm like, "What do you mean you're standing?" She's like, "Oh, I was walking over there when you were recording." I'm like, yo, this is literally a public space, bro.
Hey.
What do you mean? Tell me to delete shit? I ain't deleting
Oh
shit.
wow, 1997 called.
This was literally 2 years.
ما بغيت أتصور.
Why
لو
do you talk?
سمحت. I don't know.
Anyway. Such exciting. There's other news. The Riyadh Marathon happened today. Shout out to everybody that participated.
Whoa.
Shout out,
Respect
shout out.
everyone.
That way,
All our respect.
I
None
None
want,
of us
respect.
went.
no, I actually wanted to do it this year, but things got in the way. Not very happy last year. But I thought, I was like, you know what? No one hyped me out.
Okay, بعتك يبقى
No one. No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
So-
Don't call it a kebab.
Yeah, just saying.
Yeah,
Okay,
doesn't
that's so
sound-
not
gross.
60, bro.
No.
This is old. That's what old you say to old people.
Tekfa, you're like,
Yeah.
there's a 20-year gap between us. Oh, is that what you tell them?
Yeah, okay, بعت.
Oh, you tell them you're young, don't
I
you?
was told هو ما واحد مليار راح سجل no
I remember Alex wanted to go. He said in the
Yeah,
group.
a couple of people did. Yeah.
10 kilo the guys wanted to do
Yeah.
10k عقبالنا يا ابو عدول عقبالنا
Don't tie yourself.
السنة الجاية ان شاء
You're
الله
not gonna do it.
No.
نبدا بالاربعه
There's
You're
a.
not
Hey,
gonna do- no, man,
that's the kids one.
حق الاطفال والعوائل
They're like 10 minutes and you just leave.
إيه،
Why?
وشو؟ 4 كيلو
Dun, dun, dun,
I swear.
dun.
مسار رياضي
Let's get out of here.
You're running in slow motion with kids around you just running.
Yo!
Dun, 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 dun.
And a cop chasing him?
Yeah.
That's default.
Sir!
honestly.
Sir, stop! Oh, shit, see.
good to have you back Turks
Thanks.
did you miss us
No.
I missed you, Turks.
ew
Why are you saying that, bro? Anyway, shout out to tons of viewers.
I have nobody to
Appreciate
talk to about cheese other
No
than
one
Turks.
Your mom walks around like a sumo wrestler. All right. So anyway, so we appreciate a big
Yo.
we had it.
Yo.
Peace, peace.
Hey, ده كده سريع. Peace.
Peace,
Peace.
my friend.